if you never lie to anybody, you'll never have to remember what you said, and you'll never get caught in a lie. The problem with that is it's really hard to do, because you want to make people feel better. You say, oh, it's just a white lie. I know they'll feel better if I say this to them, even though it's not true. That will always come back and bite you in the hiney. Not maybe a month, but maybe 5 years later. Here's a dilemma that everybody faces, every man, every woman, okay? Think about it this way, and it applies to business too. You fall in love, and many people have multiple relationships in their life because the euphoric period of love is the best part. It's so wonderful. You can't stop thinking about the significant other. It's just the joy in your day and all that. Then as things wear on and you become more into the mode of just being together and the challenge of the world step on you, maybe you move in together, maybe you're married, maybe you're not. But the point is, there's going to come a time when you're going to cheat. And maybe it's just something that, you feel you're not going to get caught. You're in another city. And, I'll be honest, you sleep with somebody else. The opportunity comes along, you don't want to change your main relationship, but you want something on the side. This happens all the time. What you should do is get up in the morning, realize that was a mistake, and tell your lover what you did. Right there. Right there. Why? Because in a relationship, you can recover from being caught cheating. You can recover. But what you've lost forever is the equity of trust. Ooh. It's gone. It's gone forever. It'll be a relationship, but it won't be the same relationship. And by the way, that's just as important in business. When you lie to a partner, or you lie to a customer, or you lie to somebody and you get caught, you will never have the equity back. Even though the pain and misery of saying, look, I did something crazy last night. I met somebody, I slept with them, I wish I hadn't have done that. I really, please forgive me, I was weak. The truth is powerful. It would have made that equity stay and maybe even respected you more, as long as you don't keep doing it, obviously. It's a one-time mistake. You have to make time in your life for your significant other and your family, and it's very hard to do. This is really speaking more to the entrepreneurial community out there, which is basically a third of people. 1/3 will attempt to take the entrepreneurial journey. It's not a destination, it's a journey, and the challenges of that are very, very difficult, particularly when you're starting out. And I learned this the hard way. And again, I'm going to go to a story of a class that I taught years ago, an evening class. 3-hour class, 6 to 9. We're almost closing, how 10 minutes left. This guy hadn't said a word the whole class. And he finally puts up his hand and he says, I need some advice. I said, okay. He said, I'm graduating this year. I'm an engineer, and I've developed a cloud-based software enterprise system that helps hedge funds with less than $250 million be compliant. And it was a subscription service. So these guys could use it on a cloud basis. And he had written this code while he was graduating in engineering. Wow. And his run rate was $5 million a year in subscriptions. I mean, that is like, and I said, I don't hear a problem here. I hear something incredible going on. This is amazing. And he said, well, here's the problem. My fiancée came to me this morning, and I'm really disturbed. She said, I have to make a choice. She can't live with me anymore. I never attend any of her family's picnics. I never see anybody on weekends. I'm either studying or I'm working on the code. That's all I can do. And I asked her to come over and sleep with me when she can, and we can be together. But I'm just buried in this. And I need to do both. I need to get my graduation in engineering, and I need to keep my customers happy because this is my business. Now, he said, what do I do? I said, okay. Which one is easier to replace? Your business or your fiancé? This guy's phenomenally successful. Clearly has gotten engaged to the wrong person that can't take that journey with him. Most likely outcome is divorce after they marry, because he's going to work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, because he's got a business, he's an entrepreneur. My point is, one of the biggest decisions you're going to make in your life between success and failure as a person is finding that right partner. They have to be in sync with who you are. You can't contort yourself to something else. And I think that a lot of people in their 20s really should think this through, because the reason marriages fail is not because of infidelity. Any marriage can survive that. I talked about it earlier. But why they fail, why the union breaks up 50% of the time within 5 years, is financial stress. One outspends the other. They're not in sync together. They don't share each other's goals. That's the hardest time in your life. In your 20s, maybe you start a family, whatever you're going to do. The point is, picking that partner is the thing you either do right or you do wrong. Divorce is incredibly stressful. Many people try it 3-4 times. They're not in sync with their partner.
What questions should partners be asking each other before they get married around money? How honest should they be? And what if they have a massive disconnect around money, but they have this intimacy and connection and love? Should they, just break up before the wedding? Or what do you think would be the right move to make?
Here's how the journey works. You meet somebody. It's a great first date. You have a second date. It's even better. Okay? By the time you're having your third date, the only reason you're having your third date is both of you are very interested in each other. Mm-hmm. And that is the time to start talking about the future. I know that sounds corny. And
the third date.
I understand it. Third date, if you're just hooking up for hooking up, I get it. You don't have to worry about this. But if you're actually stopping seeing anybody else and you're on your third date with somebody you've met and they've done the same thing and you're being honest with each other, something's going on, okay? Now it's time to start doing a little due diligence, because this is going to get serious. By the fourth date, and you're not seeing anybody else and you're talking about, doing whatever you're going to do together, it's a big deal. And you have to understand a little bit about where their heads are at. Number one is, talk about family. Do you want to have one? I mean, it's a question. Some people don't. You got to know that up front. You make a decision about it. Or can you have one? It's a discussion you got to have. Tough discussion. Again, staying honest. Number two, what are your goals? How do you see yourself in 10 years? Are you at home? Are you working? Or would you be raising kids? I know this sounds corny, but believe me, women want that question and men want it too. If you're on your fourth date, they're dying to get into this because they're starting to really invest their time in what they think they're going to be. Anybody in your family bankrupt? Tough question.
Ooh.
Tough question. Have you ever been bankrupt? Then you ask, how much debt do you have on your credit card? Tough question.
Ooh.
Do you pay off your credit card every month?
Oh my gosh.
And then they say, why are you asking me that? And if they say, why are you asking me this question? You say, why can't you answer that?
Ooh. What makes you feel uncomfortable about this question? Yeah.
Well, what I really worry that the reason, you've got to be in sync with here's the thing about marriage, about getting together, whether you get married or not, or whoever your significant other is. If those are aligned, if you have an understanding of each other that is in sync, that union could last 50 years. Because after the euphoria is over with, you're in business with each other. You have to build a financial pillar to support growing old together, or raising a family, or buying a house, or doing whatever you're going to do. And you need to be in sync on that stuff. But I'll tell you something. I was amazed at how forthcoming people would be and saying, I'm dying to answer that question. I'm dying to ask that question. If I'm on my fourth date, I really want to know that about my potential partner because I'm really interested in this person. And I think we could be great together, and at least I'd like to try it, but I got to know these things. They're tough questions. And if you like the answers, then you should feel encouraged to keep going. And if you don't like them, you really have to do some soul searching, because high probability, at least 50%, it's not going to work out. My most valuable asset at this point is my time. But something about money you should understand and everybody should think about is the danger of money in a family is entitlement. If you entitle somebody and you de-risk their future, you have actually cursed them. You've cursed them. You have almost guaranteed that they will fail, that they will never launch. I experienced this myself when I was graduating from college, undergrad, and my mother came to that. Again, she was a big influence in my life from events like this, and she said to me, great news is I'm coming to the graduation, but I want you to know the dead bird under the nest never learned how to fly. And I said, Mom, what the hell does that mean? She said, there's no more checks. I've paid from birth to last day of college. That's my deal. And you get nothing else from me. And I went, wow, like I don't have a job. I can't even pay my rent. And like, she said, you're going to have to work it out. I mean, look, I've done my job and now you're going to have to learn how to fly. And I had a tough couple of years. But what she was really saying was she hated entitlement. And she didn't want to entitle me, and I had to go figure it out. It was very tough. And years later, you know, I always look at these things that these moments you learn something and then you apply them later because they've steeped, they've aged in your head. They've actually come, you know, it's like a wine. It's aged to a perfect flavor, and now you have to use it because it's been something you experienced. So when I had that big liquidity event, my kids were 4 and 6, and I went across the river. We were in Cambridge. I went to Boston. I set up generational skipping trusts that did exactly that. They took from any child from birth to last day of college, and any degree. They could go right to a PhD if they wanted. They could stay in school their whole lives if they wanted, and the trust would pay for them long after I'm gone. But after they graduate, nothing, zero.
Wow.
And I said that to my kids, and they were 4 and 6. They just laughed at me. And then later in Boston, when my son was in high school doing really poorly, not applying himself, one day I guess he talked to one of his friends in his class, was telling him all about his family trust and all that stuff. I don't know why he brought this up, but my bet is that's what happened. He said to me, Dad, walk me through the trust my trust. I said, sure. Mom and I going out to dinner. If we get run over by a bus, you don't have to worry. You're going to get to finish high school, but you know it doesn't look like you're going to get to college because your marks are terrible.
Wow.
And then he said, well, okay, then what happens? I said, well, I'm dead and you have no money.
Oh,
and that
man.
was the first
Wake-up call.
Yeah, well, that was the wake-up call. And you know, it may sound cruel, and people may say that's terrible. Today, he has started his first week as a full-time engineer at Tesla after, you know, going through the whole system and graduating as an engineer. I paid for the whole thing, but now he's on his own. But I think the wake-up call motivated him. That's the whole idea of entitlement. If he thought he didn't have to do anything, maybe he wouldn't have taken that path. Mm-hmm. How many rich kids, screwed up rich kids, do you know? Plenty. There's lots of them. They're entitled. Mine will never be. And they may not like me for doing what I did to them, but if they have children, the trust pays for them, and those are expensive, and I'll be gone. But that's my whole point.
What advice do you give them, or what would you give them? Maybe they wouldn't ask you for the advice, but what would you give them on how to raise better kids who have all the money in the world to their disposal?
Don't give it to them. Don't let them think that they are de-risked. Don't let them think they're entitled. They will act differently. They will take a different path. They will focus on their own lives and try and achieve things on their own. There's no reason you can't support them and you can't help with them in emergencies like medical emergencies or, you know, whatever it is. But if you entitle them that they never have to work, you've cursed them. You've cursed them. You've totally written them off in terms of people that could have achieved greatness because they were motivated to do so for reasons of that everybody in the world you have to find your own path. Like that's the whole idea. And if you're granted a free pass, you've wasted a whole lifetime. That's my view. Look, not everybody agrees, but look, this is the way we run our family, and so far so good.
Yeah.
And you know, the one thing that I think we failed as a society on, because you're getting into an area that I spend a lot of time on here, is financial literacy. We have failed an entire generation. There's 100 million people in America that have, and some of them are in their 60s, that have nothing set aside for their retirement. They never were taught how to invest. There's a big difference between saving and investing. A savings account gives you nothing now. Interest rates are basically zero. The markets give you 6 to 8% a year, but you got to learn how to harness them. Nobody teaches those kids anything.